up? What's up? What's up? If you're tuning in, I want to thank you for joining the chat room. It's your girl, MsChloeChantel, your host for the chat room. Go ahead, call your friends, tell your mom, dad, brother, sister, uncle, cousin, whoever, to go ahead and log on to hmsnetradio.org and tell them to tune in into the show tonight because I got a good one. I got a good one, y'all. We're finna have a good age-old debate. Not really a debate, but a good conversation going on here. We're gonna talk HBCU versus PWI. And for those of you who don't know what that is, HBCU is historically black college and university, and PWI is a predominantly white institution. So we're gonna have that debate tonight. And it's not a debate. We're not slandering my HBCU versus your HB. No, it's not that. It's more of just comparing. We're comparing the different experiences, how it feels to be an African American student in either one. So we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun, and I have a lot of guests in the studio with me that are gonna help me with this topic. Let's go around the room. We're gonna start with my producer, my girl Maya, and let us know what school you attended.
Hi guys, my name is Maya D. I went to the great Louisiana State University. Go Tigers!
Go Tigers! Go Tigers for real. Shout out to Mizzou. Ari?
Oh, I'm Ari or Ariana, and I attended Dillard University in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay.
My name is Shakira Dennis, and I attended Texas Southern University right here in Houston, Texas.
My name is Kevin Etima, and I attended Jackson State University right there in good old Mississippi.
Ooh, we got a nice flow. And you know, your girl went to University of Missouri. Go Tigers, MIZZOU. So yeah, we got a good little divide here. Usually I would try to stay, level the field, but I'm on the PWI side today. I'm going to stick with them. So it's going to be me and Maya against the rest, holding it down for the PWIs against the rest of my HBCU people. What do they call me?
My neck. Something caught over there. I'm sorry.
Rich and the rest of it.
All right, continue.
Y'all are funny. Okay, so first, let's start off with overall experience. Maya, how does it feel, speaking for PWI, how was it being a black girl in a predominantly white institution?
I tell everybody it was the biggest culture shock of my life. It was a culture shock for me, man, being in a room of 300 white kids and you see like maybe 5 peppered black kids, and you trying to learn like that and you like can't focus. It was a lot. And then get into your smaller classes and it's like 30 of y'all and then you're the only black person in the class, and it's just, I didn't know how to deal with all these white people. But I knew that going in, and that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to go to a white school.
Yeah. I feel the same. Yeah. It's really like that at a PWI. You're usually in a class of 300, especially if you go to a huge school. And me and Maya went to 2 big schools. You're usually in a class of 300, 350, and you're literally about the only black person. It's overwhelming sometimes, but
exactly.
It works.
I would say very overwhelming, but I knew my world up until that point was very black and brown. And so I wanted to see how the other side lived, pretty much.
Somebody from my HBCU.
I think that's why I didn't go to a predominantly white institution.
Why?
Because, I had already had my culture shock when I moved to Missouri City, and I went to Quail Valley Middle School, and I was looking around like, whoa, because I'm from New Orleans, and most of the schools I attended, I only attended one school, and it was a fully black school. And so when I got to Houston, I was like, well, there's a lot of people who don't look like me. And then I went to Hightower, and while there were more black people at Hightower than there were at Quail Valley, I was in the engineering academy, and I was that one black person sitting in the classroom of 30 white
Does
kids.
that mean we need to do better, y'all? The one black person in the engineering? That's just a side note. Don't forgive me.
Okay, maybe like one of 3 in a class of 30. But as you get higher in the program, the class is split. And then at one time, I was the only black person in the class, and then the only black female at that.
So you was tired of that.
I was tired of it. I wanted to feel like I was at home. I wanted to be comfortable.
Okay, guys, Kevin, what?
Jackson State really came with a set of challenges, but I think those challenges made me who I am today. Of course, I was an athlete at Jackson State, so we had our chance to travel to different universities, and even after college, I moved to the East Coast, and I worked in a couple fields that I was pretty much the one and only. But I know some of the complaints that we hear about HBCUs as far as logistics and things like that, and of those things of those nature. It actually prepares you for the real world because it is not cut and paste. Things are difficult. You are going to have to wait in line. You are going to have to find that right person to talk to. And I've been in several situations where, and not bashing anybody else's school, but when you're in these institutions that they're giving you everything you need up front all the time, which is great. It's amazing. It's great for a teenager going into that setting. But then you get out of these universities, and now you got to deal with the real world. Now you have to deal with these attitudes, these people. And coming from HBCU, I was already ready. I already understood the game. And then not only that, no matter how much I wanted to insert myself into the society and be with everybody else, it comes a point where we are still black and we are still in America. So you get into your different fields and go into your different workforces, and you're gonna be on that island sometimes, and you gotta be okay with handling that, and you have to be okay with overcoming that. You have your moments where once you leave the HBCU, that time to build those networks, those organic relationships, it starts to fade. So when are you going to really build that network of people that look like you with the same type of goals and things in mind? When are you going to be able to find that same type of atmosphere? After you leave college, it's kind of hard.
It's interesting that you say that you going to HBCU for you was more reality, because I feel like that's the biggest reason why I went to PWI, because that to me that's going to be my reality when I got out of college. I'm going to be the black person surrounded by a lot of white people probably in whatever job I go to. So that's primarily why I picked a PWI.
Why do you feel like that?
I feel like that's just how it is. Maybe it's the industry that I'm in or not. But I just figured I would never be in a situation unless I choose to where I'm going to be surrounded by black people all the time.
Right. And I think that's important. But at the same time, once we miss these opportunities to network and fellowship with like-minded people that look like us and from the same type of environments, those things don't really come back. So if you're already going to the workforce and it's like that, and you're already in the school that's like that, well, when are you going to go back and get those types of the type of camaraderie, that type of that network? Once it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
When are we going to go back and go get it? So it does. I think it's kind of a catch-22. Yes, we want to experience life in the quote-unquote real world, how it's going to be when we get out. But you don't want to miss out on an opportunity to actually, experience some of this higher learning with like-minded, highly intelligent, highly motivated people of color. Because once you leave, where are we going to find them again? Especially in the different industries that we work in.
That's interesting. Okay, so let's talk about education for a minute. Did you want to input?
It's fine.
Okay.
When I have.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, Maya. It's okay. Let's talk about education for a minute. I know another big reason for me, and let me stop, because before I chose University of Missouri, I was actually on my way to Howard. I wanted to go to Howard. I had a partial scholarship. I was ready to go. And I honestly picked the University of Missouri because they gave me a bigger scholarship, to be quite frank with you. So that's why I went there. And honestly, the best decision of my life. I love the school to death. But I know before I started this whole college journey trying to figure out which school that I wanted to go to, I got preached a lot about how going to a PWI, your education, you far better education than going to a historically black college. So let's hit on that. Talk about my HBCU people. How was the education? Did you feel like you... I don't know what I'm trying to say, but how was the education? How was classes?
We know what you're trying to say. Wait. You wait.
Right. I don't feel like at all that I received a subpar education because I attended a historically black college and university. I feel like my education is more than adequate. And I will still be successful with that.
That's what I was trying. I was just trying to find a nice way to say it, but I wanted us to touch on that. So go ahead.
Let's get there. I just don't understand why people feel like, because you went to this school, your education is less than mine. Why?
Right, and
I have a degree that says the same thing as yours.
Yeah, and it's not so much the institution to me more than it is the individual, because when you're like within the infrastructure of a predominantly white institution or within the infrastructure of a historically black college or university, it's what you make of it. The core and course curriculums that I took, I was a political science and a journalism double major at Texas Southern. So again, like, let's talk about opportunities post-graduation, right? So I interned at the White House. I worked on the president's campaign. So I got all those PWI, you know, or those things that one would presume to be only for those folks who come out of bigger institutions. And so it was simply because, one, I applied myself. I had a really diverse, like, background when it came to my experience within the political atmosphere. And so it was less about what I learned in the classroom, right? Because it prepared me, right? But there's also that learning curve when you leave the classroom, you walk across the stage, and now you're in the real world. Did I feel prepared? Yes and no. And it's not because of the course curriculum. It's more so because of the individual. Because sometimes when you get out there, everyone's scared. I think anyone coming out of PWI or HBCU is afraid, oh my God, what's next? Everybody has that question on their mind. So I don't think so. I mean, now, while HBCUs are severely underfunded, I mean, we understand that. I mean, government-wise, I mean, you know, we're not getting the resources that we need to sustain. In certain respects, I do think that some of the smaller HBCUs would have the propensity and the capacity to grow into larger populaces, but without the resources and you know, some of the things that some of those traditional PWIs receive, I mean, we just aren't getting those resources. No matter how much Thurgood Marshall College Fund, NAFIO, United New York College Fund have tried to kind of make up for what's missing when it comes to resources, it's still a challenge.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I would love to piggyback on that. Funding is a huge issue. You know, just because a school is bigger or they have more access to labs or, you know, better equipment does not necessarily mean that the professors in there are worse at teaching than in other institutions, because we have brilliant minds in all kinds of colleges, all kinds of universities. So just because something looks shiny on the outside doesn't mean that it's necessarily has a better substance. And not taking anything away from these bigger schools, they have great opportunities, right, and large networks and great things going on. But the same types of minds, brilliant minds that these PWIs are in these HBCUs. And just it was an instance in D.C. I was going a teaching fellow job, and a guy from Rutgers, we were both, it was a classroom situation where we had to do some kind of like mock lesson. The guy stands up and he's like, you know, he introduced himself, I'm from Rutgers, blah, blah, blah. And this guy, like, he's literally sweating all over his body. He's super nervous, you know, and we have to break after we get done. And I go in the restroom, and he's standing up at the urinal beside me. He breaking man code talking to me. So I didn't really like that. But he's telling me where he's from, and he's like, oh man, what school did you go to? And he's thinking I'm gonna say some kind of, throw out some Harvard or some Yale or something. Like, I went to Jackson State. He's like, where's that? I'm like, it's in Mississippi. You know, it had nothing to do with that institution. It was the people who prepared me before I left.
Gotcha. Yeah. Maya, you have anything to add to the PWI side?
Well, I would think.
No, I'm just saying, did people come to you with that type of? No, because I just know that was a big thing.
I don't know, Kevin. Did we really know that? Okay. We sounded a little too educated over here.
That was good. No, you guys are great. I just know when I went to college, that was a big thing that people told me was just like the education. Yeah, we hear it. I'm not gonna lie, we're gonna hear it.
I don't know, maybe I'm just oblivious. I feel like there's no difference. Like, I know you can still go to a black school and, you know, come out very well educated and prepared. And I would even argue that they have one up because they probably have professors who actually care.
Yeah.
As to where
that was gonna bring me to my next topic. How big are you guys' school? Like, Dillard?
My school is tiny.
Tiny.
My freshman year at Dillard, I think there was a total of about roughly 1,100 students.
In the school?
In
That's
the
High
school.
Tower.
It's less than High Tower.
Yeah.
It's less than High Tower. I think, you know, enrollment's up now because you have to think about from Hurricane Katrina and all the students were dispersed all over the country, and then you had a group of students in Lafayette, and then you had a group of students in Houston, and then you had a group of students at another campus somewhere else. And just over time, getting the resources back, getting the buildings back up to code, and getting people to be able to move in on campus, and getting people to know that the school is even still open and that we're still, you know, we're still functioning. And so over time, population increased. I think by the time I graduated, might have had maybe around 2,000 students. Always has been a small school, but just when I got there, extremely small, like tiny. However, I like that. I'm the type of like the kind of learner I am. I would like to be able to go to my teacher during office hours and not wait in a line of 20 to 30 students and we all have the same question, but we're all only going to get to talk to the teacher for about 5 minutes because he has 50 other people to see within this 2-hour window.
That's one thing that I hated about my school and it being so big was just the disconnect from teacher to student was like you're literally a number. Is that TSU, Jackson, were they pretty big schools? I know TSU is fairly
TSU is sizable, but the class sizes, I mean, still allows for more intimate education, right? So it's like the ratio, it's not, oh my God, crazy. So you can go sit in a classroom and afterwards you can have a dialogue with your professor or you can catch them during their office hours and you won't have to deal with that. And so that's, I think, is one of the advantages. You know, students get much needed attention.
Right. I think Jackson State, if I'm not mistaken, is between 10 to 15,000 students. And don't quote me on that, but I think it's around there. And we had decent sized classes, never anything like 300 people in the classroom. But
y'all never been in a class with 300 people?
Never, ever in my life. But what I do know is that I still have relationships with my professors. And I could, I call them up all the time, I email them, I get responses, just like Shakira said, after the class is over, it's not like these people are celebrities, and it's not like they're rushing out. Of course, everybody has schedules to keep and things like that, but, when they're done, they're still accessible. They're still people. And I believe, for the most part, very invested in the students there. Now, we're not going to pretend like every teacher there or every professor there is super involved, but it's a great number of professors who are there because they want to be there, not because they were forced, but because they have a passion for teaching and they really want to be involved in that type of setting. And not necessarily just because Black students are there, but because, people of all races and nationalities or whoever are able to come there and receive an education where it can be more intimate.
Right. That, y'all won us on that one.
Well,
it's not a fight. It's a discussion.
But like I said, I think it also depends on the person because, when I got into my major, my classes got, smaller. My professors were more, talking about what I actually wanted to learn. Like, one of my professors, she came to my graduation dinner, we was always here, She failed me once, but it was okay. We still kicked it. I had more time to see her, and she's a good person, but I guess it just depends on where you go. And at the same time, those large classes, I don't know, I'm not going to say they always work for me, but I didn't always mind them, because it's kind of like going to work. All right, I'm going to go here and take these notes, use my little clicker to answer a question, and did. But now, I remember I had a class of 500. It was in the auditorium, huge.
Right.
But it was cool. I don't know, it worked out.
I think the biggest class I was ever in had maybe about 50 people in it. That was my classroom auditorium class. We had to go to our auditorium for that class. Any other class is 20 to 30 people.
Some days I could deal with the 20 to 30. Some days I did mind the 300 plus, just because when you don't feel like coming, you not missed.
Girl, you got 199 at all. People you can get notes from. It's probably something online, study groups.
Yeah, there's pros and cons, but I would wonder what the professor goes through with dealing with 500 people in one class. What type, how much of their time are they getting devoted to actually creating these curriculums, grading papers?
That's what the TAs.
TAs, I was just gonna say that. That's why we want TAs.
But TAs though, come on.
It's usually those real intro to something.
Just has that many people, right.
There's only classes like that where it's a real I'm probably teaching the same curriculum, the same every year,
same test, same everything. So. Yeah. Okay, let's stir the conversation up a little bit, a little less serious, because we hit the hard stuff. Dating. How is dating at an HBCU? Because I can talk about dating at a PWI forever, but I really want to know, was dating, just because for my PWI, we all know each other. So if you talk to somebody, they probably talk to someone or we all know each other. Everybody know everybody. But at a HBCU, you guys have plenty to choose from if you're trying to date in your race.
You mean all the Black folks know each other? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Sorry.
I was confused for a second. Now I got you. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, all the Black folks knew each other at a PWI. So how is it at a HBCU? Was dating easy?
It's not as easy as you would think it is. Well, I'm going to speak for Dillard, small school. First, you have to look at the female to male ratio. So let's knock out. So we're going to say, if I said there were, 1,100 students, we're going to say there are about 850 females and 250 males.
Ooh, Jesus.
Then you look at the on-campus population versus the off-campus population. Just knock out about 150 of those males. So there are, about 100 left? So then you have the athletes, the hermits who never leave their rooms, and then the weirdos who like don't talk to anyone.
Oh, you had this down to a science.
Oh, I'm you know it gets real. Like on a itty bitty campus, like a school that's already small, then you barely have any males there, and then you have really not much to choose from. I mean, you have the ones, some that are gay. Damn. Some that just don't want to be bothered. Then you have the ones that's like, oh, you're probably in school because you have nothing else to do, because I really wouldn't bring you home to my mother. Like, let's
So
be
you
honest.
knocked it down to about 5 men to the 800 girls.
So 5 men to 800 girls. What does that leave you with?
Like 100 and I'm not good at math.
Oh no, that's come out of PWI.
Not coming out of a PWI.
Y'all got to be good English.
Shakira's taking it there. She's taking it there. Maya,
expert.
Maya, you're making us look bad.
Let's go back to education. They do charge you for education, and it whooped my ass. I will tell you that because I was not ready for it. I was very unprepared from what I was taught in high school to what I had to do in college, and being a first generation college student. On top of the culture shock, no, I wasn't ready. And my intro to sciences and my intros to math were the main shit that kicked my ass, because guess what? My math teacher was a computer. Like, that's how really it is. It's computer lab. You might get a professor one day out the week. The rest of your classes in the computer lab.
That's true.
I got my math credit right here at Houston Community College. Go Eagles.
Wait, they got a mascot?
They do. Yes, thank you. You know the mascot.
I go to HBCU. I'm proud.
I didn't know it was an eagle.
It is.
HBCU is a good school.
Oh yeah, no, very much.
Real talk.
Huh. That's funny. Dating. I want to get. We're not leaving this topic at that nice intersection, but we're not leaving this topic. Kevin,
So,
dating. Let me know.
With dating, okay, usually when people date, they're gonna find situations they're comfortable with, and people they're comfortable being around. So being an HBCU, that's you're already around people who are pretty much in tune with your culture, right? So it's not as foreign. There is a disproportionate ratio with the men to women. It does create an issue on both sides, because there were definitely more women on campus at Jackson State than males. And for a guy, you would think that'd be great, but in actuality, it really isn't. Because then you got to do, guys who are doing all kind of crazy stuff, and now you have to deal with a young lady who's been hurt, or to deal with something else. And now I'm paying for 6 other brothers who done it wrong, and now I'm looking like, man, what did I do? But
Did you date?
I did.
I was just gonna say, was this a serious girl that you was after
Hold
though?
on, wait. We talking about dating in general. We talking about my dating. No, I just.
We can take it wherever you want to take it.
No, I did have a serious relationship. I had one serious relationship in school, and then and then it dissolved, and we went our separate ways, and I dated. But it wasn't, it's just for me. Sometimes it's very easy to fall into in line with the culture that you already know. So if you're only dating black folks, then of course at HBCU you ain't got nothing but black folks. So you're gonna have a field day. You'll definitely be able to find what you're looking for. Even if it's just 5 guys, you're gonna find 5 good guys, and you're just gonna have to put a little extra on to beat that 800 other girls.
That's a hell of a competition.
Yeah, but as far as you had some great people at these universities, and you had some amazing women and amazing men. So you had that opportunity to be around folks who were just like you. It wasn't that huge learning curve. I got to meet your mom, and she's from Eastern Europe, and you don't really know how to connect with that. I'm just saying you don't know how to connect with that. That side
that's
of
why
your
you
heritage.
figured it out.
No, definitely. I'm definitely down. I'm just saying, as a teenager and going right into your 20s, it's hard for you to figure out sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So it makes it easier for that transition, but
Man, I know. I quickly realized was not about to find no husband. And was barely about to find a boyfriend. Like, what you say, Shakira?
That's the second.
Right. She's doing horrible right now. Doing horrible right now.
Anyways, because first of all, it's not that many of us, so you have these same odds that y'all are dealing with on a smaller scale. So not only do everybody know who's dating, everybody know who's messing around, and most likely no one's calling it a relationship. You're just messing around. Like, I can't think of any of my friends that really had like relationships. Like, the odds were very low. Everybody was just blanking each other. and then I mean, and I remember my brother put me on game too, because he was like, girls are gonna go to college looking for their husbands, and dudes are gonna take advantage of that. They gonna take advantage of that. So it's just like, you know, everybody looking for a ring, but everybody just getting.
Oh, Shakira, give us a success story. Do you have a good dating story in college? Because I feel like right now we're all like, don't date. No matter if it's a PWI or HBCU.
You know what? Yeah, I'm not saying don't date. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, there were some success stories coming out of Texas Southern University. There were some people who made it happen. This past weekend, I was looking on my social media, and like maybe 5 or 6 folks from TSU who had met there, you know, kind of kept up with each other, you know, had serious relationships, and now getting married. Right. So, I mean, that's not everyone's story. I mean, it's definitely not mine. I mean, when I was there, I held like really high leadership capacities. So within my department and then school wide. So being the student body president don't look great to have a boyfriend on your arm, or it's not the most politically correct thing to do, I will say. I mean, it's just so, seriously, like, so everything is such a magnifying glass, right? And then the pressure of being the student leader and attempting to balance, you know, in a relationship is just, you know, I tried to date a little bit outside of school, but again, you know, my responsibility. So I was different. I was in a different position.
You sound like you were way too busy to date anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all weren't dating outside of the black. Were y'all dating outside of black folks, or was it just only the black folks?
No, I'm gonna be honest. I only dated in my culture, and I'm with Maya. I didn't date in college at all. This whole
smorgasbord of different folks, y'all ain't trying to just
you know, and that's probably something I'll regret later on, that maybe I could have tickled my toes and other.
I mean, it's college, you know, you get the experience. I mean, get the full experience.
I definitely experienced like friendships, but never teetered it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now friendships, galore, and that's one thing that I did appreciate about my PWI was just meeting so many people from different cultures and different experiences. That was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, I studied abroad one summer, and I wish I would have did it more often. But we were sitting, I think, in geography class, another one of them 300, you know, student classes, and the teacher was like, you know, who's been out of the country? And everybody raised their hand, and I'm just like, that's what we doing? Like, I didn't know people was taking trips out of the country like that.
Yeah, it's
and that made me, they have, like, I tell people all the time, white people might not spend money on their clothes or their shoes, but they gonna spend it on their trips to other, you know, they gonna experience stuff, you know.
And that's interesting. And so when I finished the White House internship program, everybody was talking about what they were gonna do after the program. And so if I tell you, like, I met those folks who pretty much came out of HBCUs. They were like, man, I got to get home. I got to find a job. Or if you're planning on staying there, you're like, Lord, I got this. Right? Like, so, but then, you know, the white kids, let's just be honest, were like, oh, I think I'm just going to go, you know, I need a break. I was like, okay, what does a break look like? Ireland, Japan, Spain, right? And so I think that there are some cultural, you know, challenges, because if you're coming from not necessarily a low-income background, but just within the African-American family structure, like, trying to have your children be exposed to experiences like that is like slim to none, right? And not only that, if you do send your child to HBCU, you have to be prepared that they may not get that study abroad experience. But these PWIs, I mean, a lot of them are like, oh yeah.
Why is that though? Why does HBCU not offer a lot of study abroad experiences? Or
resources. I mean, it all boils down to resources and relationships. And, you know, some of these larger schools have huge endowments, and they have, you know, huge scholarship programs. And so where these kids are paying next to nothing for these experiences, and when there are some kids at HBCUs who I know, I mean, some of my friends who are brilliant, right, and who can sit in the same room at the same table with many of them, but again, it's opportunities and resources.
But it could also be just our background, our culture. That's not travel per se, is not something that we've been raised to deem as important.
No. it's the thing, we should,
Yeah,
right? It's just that, like, financially.
Financially, but at the same time, we could easily change, what's important to us and save up for a trip every year, every 2 years.
Yeah. But no, I get what Shakira is saying, just because I think what she's saying, when you traveled abroad, now I could be completely wrong because we haven't talked about that, but when you traveled abroad, did you get a huge, like, financial aid boost or anything by being in LSU?
I got help. No. Hell no. I still had to pay for it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that they pay for the whole thing. I'm just saying financially, what did LSU help out with that? Really?
They gave me a study abroad office to go to find information about how to do it. I got my credits transferred, but they didn't help me.
I know our school just had a really big, like, we had a whole study abroad building.
No, yeah, we did too, but they weren't paying for any of it.
I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends who did study abroad, I know Mizzou paid, like, for half of it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, they get an extreme, like, upper foot up. Like, it's different. Even with the White House internship program, you go there, none of it's paid for, right? And that speaks to who the program is catered toward. Right, there are just certain things. I mean, if you're going to the you're living in Washington D.C., the cost of living is out the wazoo, right? It's like, and so if you're a little black kid from Houston, Texas, with limited resources, and you get accepted into the program, like, either you're gonna be purged, your participation will be purged simply because you financially can't, afford it. But if you have relationships, and I had relationships, so I had a place to stay, I had mentors there to show me the ins and outs of the city, but everyone will not be as fortunate. And so that was some of the challenges I had with the program. I shared that with the senior leadership, and letting them know, like, if we're serious about developing leadership, we can't be picky about who we bring to the forefront.
Gotcha.
By purging their participation with these crazy financial.
I don't know many people. I don't think I know anyone from Dillard who studied abroad. However, I know Dillard took in a lot of students who were studying abroad. Like, we had students from we have a lot of foreign students, like from Serbia or from Germany, and I want to say there was someone from New Zealand at one point. But, like, every year, and it's kind of funny that every year we'd be able to tell who were the study abroad students, because you're like, oh, look at that set of white kids over there.
I was just gonna say, what acts were they?
Yeah, they were always white, actually. And it's like, okay, who's the new white girl on campus? And like, oh, she's from this country. And the next year it's like there were two guys, and like, oh, does anyone know those kids? Oh, those are the new study abroad kids, and they're from this country. So it's like,
they were studying y'all.
Well, there you go.
I don't even know their majors, to be honest. Like, I know one person's major was like political science. Other than that, they wouldn't stay a whole year. Like,
Dillard might have a good political science thing, Maya.
I'm just saying.
I mean, Jackson State did have a study abroad program, and it was being developed more and more. By the time I actually left, it was pretty. I know one of my good friends. He was in China for 2 years, and I don't know exactly how the relationship came to be, but it definitely, a lot of those things are about the relationships you have with the partnering entities in those countries. So if the university doesn't have a relationship with another university, then there's no way to keep costs down, because you're not going to be able to pay for two universities at one time.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have to take this bill and say, like, okay, this is enough for this student to come here, and we'll waive their whatever the cost may be. So, these HBCUs, they're really focusing, right now, a lot of them are in a lot of trouble, to be honest with you. We're trying to keep enrollment up, and they're trying to do a lot of things to expand their program. So maybe studying abroad isn't on the top of their priority list, but if you want to go abroad, it don't necessarily have to be. It doesn't have to be in a classroom setting. If you really wanted to travel, let's do stuff like that. There's always opportunities, and there's always ways to do that. There is I think a bit of cultural difference, because a lot of times we're dealing with some real stuff. People are we're dealing with things that so if I have all my basic needs taken care of, then I can start thinking about other stuff. But if that's not already in line, intact, because like you were saying, you were the first one of your family to go to college. Now you got people behind you who are expecting you, not necessarily, it's not always going to be financial, but time wise, they're going to expect you to kind of help out and make sure you're steering the younger generation in that same direction. So taking 3 months off to go to Italy would be nice, but it's not always an option.
Plausible.
But I completely agree, and I was joking. I was like, I'm gonna go to this white school. I'm gonna infiltrate the system. I want to see how white people live, and I really feel like I'm not gonna say.
Maya's an interesting character, guys. I love
Maya. I love Maya. Shore on this Jersey Shore stuff.
It helped me understand a lot. I met white people who had never been in contact with black people at all in their life. you know, all they had to represent black people was what they see on TV, which is horrible. You know, but at the same time, it was just good to see, like, okay, I get why you can focus on stuff like this, because you never had to worry about anything. Like, you didn't have to start working as soon as it was legal for you to work. Like, you know,
Exactly.
it was so you can focus on travel and yoga and, you know, stuff like that. Now, people be like, oh, Maya, you're such a white girl. I'm like, I want this stuff too now. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like we should be open to it because we deserve it, if not even more. And it's funny because if we could use some of those tools that white people that's so accessible to, we would do 10 times better than them, because we're just let me stop. Starting to sound a little racist.
No, it's okay.
I love everybody, but I'm just saying.
Right, we done took the totally different.
We're just gonna be totally honest.
Be white people.
Yeah, that's we love you,
but we know who would win that.
Oh my God.
I can't.
Maya, Roy, uncut.
Shit, this is Maya. Okay, so let's. I'm interested. There's a lot what I'm hearing from you guys, my HBCU people, is resources. The lack of resources, the lack of finance that HBCUs have. Your financial aid office. I've heard a lot of horror stories about financial aid at HBCUs.
Let me jump in here.
Tell me, what went on? I remember I had a friend who went to Howard. And she was telling me, like, I don't know, just horror stories. Like, what?
I can go to the financial aid office. First of all, I'm not going to go to the financial aid office the entire first month of school. I'm not going to go because there are going to be 50 other people there in a ratio to 6 workers who need to spend at least 45 minutes with every student. I'm going to spend a week in a financial aid office, and I've never made it to class.
Right.
And it's that real.
But why is it like that?
Because there isn't any. I mean, there is money out there, but it's so hard to get it. And then you're sitting there, and it's like, okay, this is my tuition cost, but this is how much I'm going to receive on a Pell Grant, and my estimated, family outcome is only this much. Okay, now where am I going to get the rest of this money from? And so you sit there. If you've built that relationship, like Evan said earlier, you build the relationship with the people in that office. You need to find out who's going to help you, who's going to actually do the work to help you get what you need. And you sit there with that person and you just mentally go to work. Okay, now where can I get this money? And am I going to be allowed to take out a loan? Do I need to tell my parent to apply for this loan so that they can get denied so that my loan can be increased? Is there any grant money? Are there any more scholarships? Do I qualify for these scholarships? Where am I going to get this extra money from? And it's not just sitting there to be like, oh yeah, you need this money, here, you take it all now. We're done with you because we want to make sure you get in school. It's just not that easy.
Does HBCUs cost more than PWIs? Does anyone know, or does it differ?
I went to a private school, so my tuition was pretty high.
They don't, but you also have to deal with the fact that a lot of it is income based, right? And so you have a lot of students there where the populace is so poor per se that it's a challenge when it comes to financial aid, so when it comes to loans and grants, and it's also like an education barrier as well. So students go to school, they know, right, they've got accepted, etc. Financial aid is a totally different animal, right? So you have kids in there for the first time who have never dealt with loans. Exactly. They're maxing out. That's why debt is so high amid African American students, because no one was there to really educate them. And the financial aid officers are I mean, at minimum, they're just there to make sure that you balance out. They're not there to tell you, oh, you may not want to do that. There are some, I will say there are some, but I mean, having a direct relationship with the people who are over financial aid helps better. Because Linda Ballard at Texas Southern University, if you let me tell you about Miss Linda Ballard, like, she's not going to let you put yourself or your parents in a precarious situation to the point where they'll be paying debt or you'll be paying debt so much that you're not even going to be able to enjoy whatever your next swanky job may be, when you graduate from college. So it's an education barrier. Again, the lack of resources. The majority, like high percentiles of students in HBCUs are heavily reliant upon loans. The Pell Grant, of course, goes, to all those students in the state of Texas, like, who qualify for it.
Yeah. And if your parents make a little bit of money, just look at all your financial aid just going down, because they're like, oh, their parents have a little more money. They can pay $20,000. They don't need my assistance. So we can only give them $3,000 and they'll figure out the rest.
And you have
by the way, Joy Joyce Lyons, if you're listening, you're amazing, and I love you. This is my financial
Everybody,
aid
shout out to the financial
Yeah,
aid officer.
she is amazing.
I'm debt free thanks to so and so. I hear you.
And then you
I
have some
blocked all
students who
mine
go
out.
just for the financial aid money, and that's been they go, they cash out, they don't go to the classes, because you get your whatever your excess is, and that becomes your ball out on campus money. You know what I mean? And so on and off campus, you want to be the man.
Which is why they started that. Like now, when refunds used to come earlier in the year,
They
but
don't
now
come till like
you have to be in class for like.
Yeah.
I think it's
smart.
It's like 8 to 10 weeks before refunds will even go out because so many people, I don't know what personal situations they may have going on, but they just enroll in school to get the refund and they drop all their classes and they use all that money to do whatever else they needed to do just to survive.
Yeah, I know a friend who got a $600 refund check and spent it on a tattoo. A tattoo, everybody.
At least you'll have it forever.
There's people out there getting $6,000. There's people out there getting $6,000.
And see, right. And the reason why I brought up the whole financial aid situation just because I know it's two different entities when it comes to PWI and HBCU. I remember at a time where I hit a point where I was struggling and I literally went to go talk to like the dean or professor of my major and they gave me $2,000 off back. That's like, it was no argument. There was no come back later. It was literally, I walked in, talked to him about my situation. He looked at my GPA. You're good. Okay, here's $2,000.
Yeah.
And so I just know that was a privilege that I know that we got at PWI, how easy it was to just throw out money with
I know
no
one
problem.
year I had to literally beg for work study, like begged in financial aid every day for 2 or 3 weeks straight. And while Ms. Lyons, my financial aid counselor, is like steadily signing me up, her boss is steadily like, oh, she doesn't need it. Like I literally had to beg and sit there and just pour my heart out. Like, my mom has been laid off. She has 2 kids in college. She can only do so much. What do I have to do to get work study? Because I need this extra $2,000 towards my tuition.
So
and then if I can get
or they just didn't want to give it to you.
I can't tell you, to be honest, but
I mean, I think a lot of this, the issues we have with the financial aid officer is structure and how is money allocated, because there is a lack of funds, right? And these financial aid officers' duty is to make sure funds are going to the students that need it the most. But a lot of times on HBCU campuses, we have the story of I'm the first generation, the first person going to college from my family, and there's so many people like that. And even if you're not the first generation, you're definitely in a situation where your mommy and daddy do not have, 20K. I mean, that's just the reality of it. So you have so many people it's just inundating this office, and all they're trying to do is get this paperwork filled out and get you out the door. And if you don't, and if on paper you look like you're not supposed to have it, then a lot of times they're pushing you out. And it does take some time to beg and plead. I mean, I know a friend of mine who was from Cameroon. And he was going to get deported if he couldn't get the financial aid.
Oh, my God.
I mean, he actually had to switch. He was a mathematics major, switched to computer science, and he was basically like roaming these different majors and like, look, can you give me anything? Anything at all. And finally, computer science, brilliant guy. The computer science said they would give him, I think, like $2,000, $3,000, whatever. And he said,
wow, so he changed his major just to get...
Right.
Wow.
And at the end of the day, it worked out for him. It worked out perfectly for him because, computer science was a better fit. I mean, it wasn't like he just went to theater arts or something like that. But you definitely have to create, you've got to push and strive and go great lengths. And then that, at the end of the day, I think that proves what kind of person you are and what are you going to do with the education when you come out.
Yeah.
Right.
And how hard are you going to fight when you get out into the workforce? Is someone going to tell you no one time, like, you know what, I'm just going to go and do nothing? Or you know what it took for you to get that financial aid.
Right.
You know what it took for you to get that degree. So you're going to fight until, and give it everything you got when you do get that degree to make sure you're successful.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. One thing that I do appreciate about alumni from HBCUs, like you guys are, and this could be just the person that you are, but I always see that you guys are like hungry, like, cause I know how it is, when they didn't make it comfortable for me, and I feel like that's a big thing with PWI. They make it so easy for us. They make it really easy. I'm gonna be completely honest. It's just kind of like you get out and it's like you're driven, but it's just kind of like, oh, they always kind of told me that once I get this diploma, this degree, I'm good. No, but I feel like at HBCU, they let y'all know like. They
prepare you. They let you know that the real world isn't a cakewalk, and so this isn't going to be either.
But you know, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just because I felt like I was busting my ass to the point where I had jobs, internships, I'm volunteering, I'm in organizations because I never felt like it was gonna come easy. I mean, it is nice to have kind of like, you know, like a nod of approval when you tell somebody what school you went to. But I'm still a black woman at the end of the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and my teachers probably didn't stress it like y'all's professors did. But I don't know. I was always trying to hustle. But maybe that's because my grades wasn't that great. That's why I was like, let me show
y'all remind me next time never bring her back to one of these radio shows. Never again.
No, I'm just kidding, y'all. My grades good.
I had one professor, and her favorite line, and it used to, I'm not gonna lie, it used to piss us off in class, but like at the end of the day, it made sense, and like now I appreciate it. But her favorite line in class was like, you know, if she felt like we weren't applying ourselves or we wasn't living up to our potential, and you know, she knows that we can make better grades or we can work harder, she would just say, I have my degree, what are you gonna do to get yours?
That's real.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't gonna hand it to us, basically, and she was letting us know, I will fail you, you will see me again.
Yeah, we didn't get nothing.
Maybe my teachers just didn't voice it, but they.
No, I think what it is, they didn't care. Just like y'all said, like they just don't. Y'all had professors that care. We don't.
And I also feel like because I was in such this university that could have been its own small town, you are treated like an adult. You are treated like a number, and so it did give you, with that culture shock came the shock of the real world. Like you really in this blank by yourself, and you gotta get it done pretty much, you know what I'm saying, take care of it, like nobody was holding our hand. And I think at a HBCU there is more of a community. You do have somebody who understands your struggles, but you are just a number, because can't nobody hold the hand of 30,000 kids, you know, roaming across the campus every day. Like it's a business. Your degree, you paid for it.
My first time visiting Harvard's campus, I had a friend of mine who was actually an ex-girlfriend, just in case she listened.
How was Harvard's campus? No,
it was actually it was pretty cool.
Okay.
You know, it was a little different. It had a bar on campus, and they had like math problems there and stuff. Like they had like trivia night like every night.
Yeah, keep going. I've always wanted to know.
It was cool, and some of those professors are very passionate about their job. They had great professors, but I was looking at their structure, and when the freshmen come in, they're assigned a house. I don't know if anybody's ever read Harry Potter. Just like Harry Potter. They're assigned a house or a dorm or whatever, and then they have a upperclassman buddy who's like there with them doing their thing. Like a friend of mine I met in DC, her husband was actually Zuckerberg's Facebook guy. His like buddy or whatever. A compiler. I just thought that was so. It was nice. You know, it was very nice. But then I thought like, wow, you know what. You know, when I left college, there was nobody following me or even attempting to put me into this special group and have somebody mentor me. That would have been very, very nice. But, you know, at Jackson State, and I'm sure a lot of our HBCUs, you know, I was an athlete, and so I was brought there. You know, I didn't just show up. I was brought there, and I still had to sleep on the dorm floor before I could even get all this stuff figured out. You know, our coach, you know, we had to go through all these different trials and tribulations that some universities you'll never have to deal with. And it is like when you're going through it, you're like, man, this is terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and I know a lot of us we say, you know, I'll never send my kid to HBCU in the moment. You know, when we're going, and then we get out, and you know, we look back and like, you know what,
in retro,
that was real. That prepared me. When I got to the East Coast and I didn't have any money and I had to like really hustle and drive and push for it, you know, it wasn't that foreign to me.
You become resourceful.
Yeah, you do become resourceful. It forces you to think outside the box. It forces you not to look just at this small amount of people that you have to rely on. It forces you to go out and really search for what is going to make you successful.
That's nice. That's one thing that, PWI is just, we did have the sources, but it was, you didn't have to really network like that. I don't know. That's just my perspective.
Well, I think there were definitely certain luxuries that came with the school, but we definitely paid for it.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
You know.
Of course. Oh, my God. This conversation is going too good, and we're almost running out of time. I love this. But I want to touch on this just to add an end to fun. The party life. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it. The party life. The homecoming life. Just because... I know HBCUs and PWI, we battle a lot with homecoming. What's really the definition of a homecoming turn up? And just to let you guys know, Mizzou invented homecoming. I'm gonna put that out there.
I always thought it out.
My school invented homecoming, but
okay,
I know that you have to support that statement.
It was It was a Jeopardy question. If you Google it, like it's a Jeopardy question and answer.
Okay, Google Jeopardy is our source.
Jeopardy is my source.
What's that? Alex Trebek?
As long as
it's on
you been saying
Wikipedia.
that, I did not know that was your source. Now I kind of feel
No, it's true.
because you've been saying that for a long time.
And
bro.
Jeopardy is
I
her
never
reference
knew that
page.
was her.
Jeopardy is your bibliography.
Hey,
Hey,
it's part of our history.
Oh my
You're
God.
taught that when we get there. No, but homecoming. How is homecoming for you guys? Like, what's homecoming? I know y'all get it. I know it's probably turned. If any, that's the biggest reason why I know you guys just party life is nice. How is
let's
it?
touch on. I want to hear about all the parties at.
Well,
especially in Mississippi.
right, drinking on hooch.
actually, a lot of people from New Orleans leave and go to Mississippi for Jackson State's homecoming.
Really?
Their
Down.
homecoming is the turn up.
Is it better than Howard?
I've never been to Howard's
I
homecoming,
mean-
but I heard it's pretty. I heard Howard's is
I've
pretty
heard
live
Howard's
too.
is-
But how is a concert? I feel like
It's fun.
That's why everybody talks about the concert because of big names that come. But how do really the rest of the campus get down?
Yeah. How's the regular parties?
You know?
How's
So, I mean, it's interesting you asked that because I didn't go to homecoming until I got out, a year after I graduated.
What?
Oh, you were in the books.
Yeah, no, I was running. I was in the book, so I took
gotcha.
that kind of seriously. But
Yeah.
I think it was better because once I came back, I got the full experience. The 100% Jacktown, Cracktown experience of homecoming. And she's right. A lot of people come to Jackson for this home. We're not just talking about the students. We're talking about a lot of people within the town, the community, Louisiana, Alabama. We've got a lot of folks, and the turn up is real. We're not just talking about a concert. We're talking about party after party after party. It is a lot of fun. You gotta know how to handle yourself, of course. But I mean, the turn up is, and it's interesting because I've been to some PWIs. I mean, I went to Sam Houston State for a couple of their little parties and things like that. I think sometimes at the PWIs, it's about getting this keg and drinking it till you black out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the upside down thing, you gotta flip yourself upside down and drink the keg.
Yes.
Okay, it looks
what we
interesting.
do. That is what we do.
But the HBCU turn up is like, you out there mixing, mingling, and it's just going down. It's like complete revelry. Like you're just having this just all out blast, and you pretend like we ain't got to go to work on Monday, and you see the band. I never knew bands like marched like in a line in a row. I've always been exposed to Jackson State band and Westbury's band. Like it's always like this dance, they move, the rhythm, the soul.
No,
and
you didn't know the band. They pick up their knees and stuff.
I didn't know they did that. And I'm looking at these other homecomings like, what in the world? What's going on? Are y'all really having fun at this? So the turn up is extreme. If you could just imagine, Houston, Texas on a Friday night, any black club or any black establishment, just think of that in a town
Every day. Every weekend.
For three whole days straight with a football game thrown in there somewhere, the tailgating and stuff like that. And then of course when you got everybody who looks like you, it's so much more comfortable.
Yeah.
And not saying it's a good thing or bad thing, but it's just we ain't gotta explain. I'm from here and blah blah blah. No. We already know what it is.
So do y'all get blackout drunk? Like, is that normal?
I mean, somebody's gonna get blackout drunk at some point.
See, that's
Probably
the
just
difference.
not from the keg.
No.
I get where she's finna go with this.
Somebody gonna get blacked out drunk.
Everybody
gonna get blacked out drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
But we
how it goes.
Black people really can't party like that all the time.
you gonna learn
And
how.
you gonna learn how.
Yeah,
when
but
you at
it's
PWI.
okay. But we can't. It can't be. I think there's black folks party a little differently than white people.
Yeah.
Especially for me, for
Definitely.
males, right? For males, like if I'm out with my white male friends, our goal for the night is to drink, and that's it. Maybe one or two guys might holler at somebody, but the whole purpose is to drink as much as possible before they stop serving us alcohol. Well, I'm with my brothers, man, we chilling, we talking, we gonna holler at a couple, women, see what's going on, and even, it's more of a relaxed space to unwind, and of course, we gonna enjoy the turn up. We gonna drink, we gonna stay on the couches and have a good time.
I appreciate that, but one thing I appreciate about my PWI and the frat parties, the white frat parties, the themes. Their themes were amazing. Their theme
creative.
parties were always on point, and that's one thing that I didn't like when it came us and parties. It's just like we're regular. We just gonna throw on our fit, go to the club and party.
And I feel like
where's the
sometimes
theme?
black people be trying to be cute, and you want to look good,
gotta
and you want to
stunt.
make sure you gotta,
Yeah.
not trip. Man, if we're really just getting down, I don't know, at LSU, that's where I learned how to drink, man. Like,
Yeah, me too.
you had to. And now, like you say, like, with your white friends, like, I might not go to the frat house, but we'll go to the bar, and it's white people. It's everybody at the bar. But your goal is, how many drinks can I get in? You know what I'm saying? Like, and then we would go to bars where it's free entry, free drinks.
Free
like,
entry, free drinks.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Y'all, did
You
y'all
don't
have that?
see that.
Free entry, free drinks?
Again, we suffer from lack of resources.
Somebody got to get paid.
Every opportunity, there's always an opportunity to generate revenue. Okay, for the community. Okay,
I understand. I get it.
I'm just saying.
I understand. We had
Homecoming
that.
packages.
Yeah.
There's a homecoming package.
Explain
Oh,
more
wow.
of this homecoming pack. What is that?
So, for example, there's different levels to homecoming packages. Just like if you go to a gala or something, there's different levels to the Oh, the president's in town. You get to take a picture with the president. You get to have dinner with the president for a small fee of $15,000, right? But then, say, for example, I just want to go hear the president speak. That may run me $5,000, right? Or, I just want to stand out in the foyer area and listen to the speakers. That may run me $50,000, right? So, stuff like that. I mean, there's different packages. So, for example, if you want to do the concert or you want to participate in, like, maybe some of the more private events that we host, like, then the package will be tailored depending upon what it is that you want to do. The tailgate, of course, is free, but the concerts, they have to charge.
all of that is actually in our tuition. Like,
we pay for this, but alumni, right? So, and if you're an alumni, you got to think about,
Wow.
Yeah, well,
homecoming packages.
we
But
don't
like,
have
we
a
had a
homecoming
student activity
package.
fee.
Wow.
That paid for
We
all of
had a
that.
student activity fee, and you have to pay for all those events. So while homecoming may not be massive at Dillard, you still have to pay to get in events. Well, like she said, the tailgate might be free. Like, there's gonna be a barbecue. Like, all the Greeks are gonna barbecue on the patio. They're gonna have music. They're gonna have DJ, and that's free. And if you know somebody, you can go get you some food. And if you don't know someone, then you bring your own food or you bring your own grill. But you're gonna have. Well, yeah, I mean, it's a big patio. Like, everybody grab an area, hang out, listen to the music, and that's free. But the basketball game, you're going to have to pay for that to get in. Well, unless you're a student. Students get in free. But then, students bring guests.
Because students are being charged that student activity fee.
Right.
Right.
So you can get in the game for free, but your guests cannot. And then if you want to go to the homecoming concert, then you're going to have to pay for that. If you want tickets to the event.
It's expensive.
We had to pay to get in our football games and basketball games.
No, the only thing we had to pay for was football. Everything else is free.
No, just
all
because it's so big,
Yeah, but our student tickets were like, they might be like $15. Unless you're trying to go to like a major game like LSU in Alabama, you paying $15. Everything else is free. And then and I tell people that's what I love also, like the community. We had our LSU game in Houston. I told my friends to go. I couldn't go. I said, wear purple and gold. Y'all will be taken care of. Like, as long as you rocking with LSU, you gonna get food, you gonna get drinks. You just walking on campus, everybody's okay. Like, it's just very, very open.
Yeah.
Dillard wasn't a party school, but y'all know New Orleans is a party city.
Yeah.
So
Y'all
even if,
y'all still
homecoming wasn't just like massive, and then he said like, we're gonna drink until they stop serving alcohol. Well, we don't stop serving alcohol.
Right.
So when I leave the party, they're gonna shut the party down on campus at about 1 a.m. Okay, so we're gonna leave there, and then we're gonna go to the daiquiri shop, and then we're gonna go in the French quarters with the daiquiri that we just got from the daiquiri shop. And then
next life, I'm going to school,
Louisiana,
and then we're gonna find a bar.
Like,
but if you know people and if you've been around, then you can go to the bar where all you need is one drink for the whole night, and you will be on your ass. It's like
the grenades. Is it the
grenade? Is nothing. The grenade is
what I love about New
nothing. No, ma'am, nothing. That's Kool-Aid. I can drink about 3 grenades and be like, what's next?
It was pretty nice to me, but
I can take you to a bar where they have you one little plastic cup and one drink, and you're like stumbling all over the place, like, who's driving me home?
Look at Maya. Okay, we are out of time, and I hate because this conversation, I'm so intrigued. I've learned a lot. We're out of time. We're gonna hit it. We're gonna do a part 2 to this because I'm sure there's more questions that people have. But go around the table and just say why I love my HBCU or my PWI, just to give the people something to leave with. Go, Kevin. You want to go first? Sure. Why do you love your HBCU?
I love Jackson State because it matured me as a young man and it prepared me for the real world. So, I mean, all the challenges I face, there was definitely a reason for it. And, I'm here today because of it.
Nice. Miss Shakira.
Why do I love my TSU? Go Tigers! Go Tigers! I tell you, we the Tigers too. I just want to wait till the end. Drop that on you. But I love my TSU because it's truly taught me and molded me into the leader that I am today. Some of my biggest lessons in life and leadership I learned right there at 3100 Cleburne Street. And so I wouldn't trade that, experience for the world. And so I'm able to compete and be who I am today as a result of.
Nice. Miss Ari, why do you love your HBCU?
I love my DU because it's just a great school, and I just had the time of my life in college. I don't know, some people are like, oh, my school was boring. This school wasn't. It's what you make it. And I had the time of my life, and I also feel like the relationships and the friendships I formed while at Dillard University, I couldn't get that anywhere else. Whether it be with my peers or the staff that I was working under, it's just lifelong friendships and lifelong connections. And I just know so many successful people, and I feel like, you can go anywhere and network, but the people that I have met, they're just all amazing, and if I didn't go to Dillard, I wouldn't know them.
What's up? Maya, why you love your PWI?
I love Louisiana State University because I think I had a very well-rounded experience. I had some bad times, but I had some really, really, really good times. I tell people, I don't know, man, I love my school. It felt like home at the end of the day, to be on that big campus and still feel at home, and I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun.
I mean, I love my University of Missouri basically for all the reasons that you guys say. It made me who it grew me up. It grew me up, and without that experience, Lord knows where I would be. But thank you guys, my guests, for coming in and giving this great insight.
Thank you for having us.
For all of you who are listening out there, catch us next Monday at 8 p.m. Same time, same place, right at the Ratchet TV at hmsnetradio.org.